There we go. That's how it worked. I don't know
We
what's
rolling?
happening there. We are rolling.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a spooky edition of Scott's Thoughts. This will be number 2 as it airs, though.
Yeah, as it airs, this is number 2.
This is like number 11 for us.
Yes, so this is, Scott's Spooky Thoughts.
That's even weirder. There's some time travel involved. Makes it even more spooky.
Time Weaver's Tavern.
You want to explain Time Weaver's Tavern a little bit?
In high school, I had a plan for a business, and that's it, Time Weaver's Tavern. All I was like, I just wanted to, do everything I like. So it's like, we'll have a little bit of, I got like a little small community library in there. Obviously, alcohol will be involved. Tavern. And then, unlike most places, it's not going to be like a bunch of like bread and sugary things. I mean, bread's fine, but I mean, the idea is like the meals there are kind of more like meat-based meals rather than just like, oh yes, we're gonna go and have some pasta with some sugar on it and some more, carbs.
I'm imagining like almost exclusively Irish-based dishes.
Yeah, I could see that. I was just thinking meat, like German meat. Just think like German as in Germanic, not German, but I just imagine lots of meat, like sausages and.
And you wanted a live venue as well, right?
Yeah, and somewhere in this building, hopefully it has a basement. And that basement, even if it would be better, set and used for storage of food, it wouldn't be. It would have a stage in there, and that's where the alcohol would be served. Like, alcohol is not served upstairs, only downstairs. And we'd have a little stage, so you could do, open mic nights and stuff like that. And Scott here, Trevor, is like, yes, I'm going to be there at least once a week and play music. And I said, absolutely perfect. Why Time Weaver's Tavern? No clue. I just thought it sounded cool.
It is cool, man. It's got like a steampunk vibe
Tavern.
to it, man. Like
I can see that.
I'm imagining, like, have you been to Silver Dollar City?
Yeah. Like the
Time Traveler.
Machine. What is that machine called? What is that thing called?
Time Traveler. Like,
Time Traveler.
quite literally.
Okay, that's a pretty lame name. Okay.
It is.
That's a pretty lame name. But hey, it works. It works.
Yeah.
So, how has your week or 2 weeks been since I think we took a week off?
Yeah, we did take a week off. Pretty good. I went to the skate park last Tuesday with my brother. That's what I did instead of recording.
Yeah.
And that's when I ruined my leg.
You've ruined it.
I'm starting to wonder if I'm ever gonna recover.
You will. Did you just do a weird twist or something?
I guess.
Yeah, you'll be good.
Pulled. It's like the area between my groin and my leg, right?
Yeah,
where
I know that
connects.
feeling.
It's just that pulls so easily.
Oh, yeah, I know that area. Oh, that's not good.
It's
It'll
bad,
heal.
Man.
It'll heal eventually. I found it usually heals best whenever you exercise that more.
That's why I've been going back to the skate park.
Like if you do weird stretches that really hurt it.
Yeah.
That sounds like it wouldn't be good. I know that usually helps whenever I tear not tear, but whenever I slightly injure leg issues,
Yeah, it feels like I've got guitar strings in there, and my G string is a B sharp now or something. That's what it feels like.
Oh, that's not good. Oh man, that made sense to 2 people, by the way.
Yeah,
that made sense to 2 people on planet Earth, and I'm one of them.
What's funny about that is there's no such thing as a B sharp.
I thought you said that on purpose. It just went to a note that isn't I don't know. It's all dumb. But yeah, there isn't such thing as a B sharp. You're correct. I thought you said that on purpose.
It's an F flat. I don't know.
That sounds good.
So anyways,
that sounds like something.
This is the spooky edition. It's October 20th right now.
Yeah, something like that.
Which means this will go up. Yeah. Few days before Halloween, I guess. Then
yeah, you have 11 days.
Yeah. So for the listeners, my living room is decked the hell out.
Oh, it's been decked out.
Yeah, since the beginning of September, because we love Halloween here.
Yeah, I mean Halloween is great. I mean this season is just the best season to exist.
It is.
Honestly, I think you're talking about it on a podcast some other time. It's what's the point of the first 9 months?
Exactly.
Yeah. They just exist
First
without
9 months
anything fun going on. I guess you had July 4th, but I mean, that's the only real holiday that I care about at all that exists before Halloween.
Yeah.
So you have Halloween, then November, then December. You have those 3 months.
It's because transitions are fun, man, and so when October rolls around, it's like things are changing.
That's true. The weather's getting nice,
Yeah.
nice and crisp.
Yeah, and there's fun events going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like think about
Not now though, because everything's shut down. But
yeah, still.
yeah.
So we're gonna be talking about nothing but spooks and scares and
yeah. Spooks
just
and
all
scares.
things wicked.
Those are the best things to think about. Spooks and scares. One thing I'd note, I've never quite understood why, but I've noticed that like Halloween did kind of.
what are you looking for?
I was moving around from my phone. I've noticed that Halloween has nothing to do with spooky anymore though. Like if I watch like Halloween things from the past, like movies and stuff like that, like even movies, even comedic movies are like they have some like scariness to Halloween, but since probably 10 to 12, I've noticed that Halloween has just become like a festive season. Like it's just like a happy, like, oh yes, happy. I get to dress up. I get, candy. I get my sugar overdose.
Do you think maybe that's because you got older and were less scared of the scary things, so it felt less prominent
I'm
to
talking
you?
about like literally speaking like within like media.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking like movies even of the past.
Yeah.
Like during Halloween season, it was like scarier things were coming out and stuff. But now they come out like year round, and then like Halloween movies now are mostly just comedic.
They are.
And not about scary stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Victoria Justice, fun size.
I don't know what that is. But I don't know how to describe it. But like, I mean, it makes sense because I mean, like the original purpose of Halloween had nothing to do with fear either. So I mean, I guess we're kind of returning to the roots of it.
I just like morbid stuff, and it's the one month where it's okay to rep it. You know what I mean?
To rep it?
To represent.
Oh, okay.
The morbidity.
Yes.
Because what are we doing? We're all just trying to get by life without acknowledging the fact that we're all going to die someday. So it's it's fun to indulge in it.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yes.
Like it's kind of like a memento mori kind of.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
It's also just fucking fun.
I agree. I wish more like haunted house things existed.
I just went to I've been to a couple this season so far. One in Nixa. Two in Nixa. One's not even worth talking about though, and one in Branson, which is the one in Branson was pretty damn good.
Okay, you know what I think would be amazing?
What
if the like Springfield public school system, if they were to during like on Halloween set up in one of the schools, like it alternates every year to a different school, and have like a haunted house that's the entire school is a haunted house.
Okay.
I would gladly pay a little bit more in taxes for that.
Yes, me too. And Halloween's on a Saturday this year. It could totally happen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It could make sense obviously on days where it's not on years where Halloween's not on a weekend to have it just like on that weekend or whatever. But like especially
the weekend before or so. Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean you could even technically still do it on Halloween. But my thought is what it should do is it progressively gets worse, like scarier. So the morning or whatever, and not morning, but like like whenever like the little kids go out, it's just gonna be like a little fun thing, like maybe some like trick or treat, like or you can walk through and get candy, but like it stays open to like 1 a.m. or so, and then like around midnight's when it's actually like they hire like people to like come in there and just scare the crap out of you.
That'd be cool, and there could be some form of critics.
I like
so
it.
It's a big competition amongst all of the schools.
Oh.
Of who has the
like
scariest
if each
haunted
school
house.
gets to do it themselves.
Yes,
like
or at least each high school, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be high school based, not and that would work almost perfectly. Let's exclude Hillcrest. If we exclude Hillcrest, then every 4 years it comes back to you.
Yeah.
And that'd be perfect. Because I think if every school did it every year, that'd be a bit too much.
Yeah.
So I think it would be make more sense as it just it alternates.
Yeah.
Or
sure.
we could skip a different school other than Hillcrest. I think Hillcrest only because it's so far out there, and I mean they still need renovation. Granted, I think they're getting it soon. Although I guess it basically is already designed for Halloween. Like they don't have like to my knowledge any doors for any bathrooms or stalls themselves. And not only do I think they not have doors for stalls, I think they just have like toilets sitting beside each other without anything between them.
Dude. That's so funny. That reminds me of when I was delivering and
baby?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
No, when I was delivering pizzas.
Yeah.
And the house is up on the north side. Around Halloween, it's funny because first of all, the north side really loves Halloween.
Yeah.
There are significantly
the
more.
north and the far east.
Yeah, there are significantly more decorations up.
Yeah.
But the houses are already scary looking.
Yeah, they're all like full of cobwebs and like crackheads.
Yeah, year round.
Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's funny.
They're always ready. I don't know. I think Halloween is a great season. I wish that the atmosphere lasted longer, though.
I know. That's why I started in early September.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I mean, like, the full atmosphere. Like, starting in, September's cool and all. But I mean, like, I wish Halloween lasted until Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, instead what happens is, like, Halloween's done, then Christmas season.
Yeah.
I'd rather if, like, maybe not then, but, like, maybe to, like, Thanksgiving roughly is whenever it's, like, Christmas, the Halloween kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I get that Christmas obviously is a kind of, like, a bigger holiday given the religious context or whatnot. But I think given some time, it's going to change simply because people in our generation, for the most part, agree with me on that. Like, they're like, I wish Halloween lasted longer and Christmas started later,
Yeah.
like the season for it. So I'm sure, marketers or whatever are going to slowly start shifting it, but it's going to take a long
Halloween
time.
It's weird. It feels like it's gotten bigger amongst adults.
Yes.
Like because of our generation.
Yes,
Because
well, yeah.
we're growing up and bringing it with us, I guess.
Yeah,
Because
no,
our
absolutely.
generation really
Yeah,
likes it.
Halloween used to be thought of like a kid's holiday. Like, it's like, oh, you're going to go dress up and go get candy.
Yeah.
And now, like, we're
It
like,
really
no,
stuck
it's
with us.
spooky time.
Yeah.
Yes, it's spooky. Get spooky. Yeah, I agree with that. It has become more of an adult thing. But the thing is, sadly, while it has become more of an adult thing, the only part of, like, Halloween marketing that's changed to be more adult is just that we have more slutty costumes. That's the only adult thing
every
that's
decade
happened.
you get like
Slightly more slutty costumes. Yeah. Like, since the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, the 80s didn't really have too many, but they had a few, to my knowledge, just given, like, obviously
the
I don't
90s
know.
exploded.
And then the 90s exploded, and then still, like, now, like, if you are getting a female costume, it is slutty.
Yeah.
Or it's for children, or it's for, slutty children, because for some
I
reason,
know.
some marketers are really weird out there, and they want some kids to wear some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if you go through some of those aisles, and you're kind of like, who would have their kid wear this?
I know.
So, yeah. I don't know.
Hold on. That's a topic for an entire series of episodes. Is modern day parenting.
My God, it's so bad.
We'll put that in the vault for later.
Yeah, I'll put that in the back burner. Oh man, that is a big topic. Modern parenting is bad.
Yeah.
Parenting as a general is bad. It's been bad since the baby boomers were parented. I mean, in reality, and even before that. I mean, obviously, no generation's perfect, but I think, the people who parented the greatest generation were a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison to the last several generations when it comes to how you should parent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, it depends on where you are. I think some countries have better parenting styles than America. America has no parenting style.
We used to have more cultural consistency in general.
I would say the one consistent parenting style now is, obviously it depends. I'm talking about, like, for our generation, is like parents seem to want to be their kids' friends.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, do that. Or the exact opposite, where the parents like, no, you can't do anything ever. It's just those two. Those are like the two extremes.
Yeah.
And that's it. There's not very many people in the middle, to my knowledge. Most people I know are like, oh, I can't do anything ever. Or, oh, I don't even have to ask my parents, and I'm, 16 or 14 or whatever.
Mine were very much in the middle.
Oh, they were?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or at least, like, we'll get into that later.
All
Let's
right,
get back to spooky,
sounds
man.
good. So, spooky spook.
Do you have a specific topic that you wanted to talk about
Spooky spook.
for spooky spook?
Spooky spook. I mean, I have some spooky spook stories from my own experience.
Really?
That I can give you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's a bit bright out still, so my spooky spook mode hasn't quite begun. But, it won't be dark for at least like 3 hours, so I guess I gotta go with a spooky spook regardless.
This seat that I'm on is creaky. That'll add some ambiance.
There you go. You can add some. Yeah, there are some, like, you can probably look up like YouTube free ambience music or whatever, ambiance.
Yeah, I might throw some in there.
There you go.
In post.
So here's a spooky story. First spooky story I can remember. This is from my own experience. I was under the age of 7. I don't know how old I was. All I know is I was at the old school I used to be at before transferring over to Springfield. So I was under 7. And it was really cold out. So actually I was probably 6 or under, technically, because it was really cold out. It was likely, the beginning or the very end of the year, and I moved during November. So I think maybe I was actually 6. And actually, probably most likely was 6 or under. And in that case, I was either 6 or 5. So there you go.
And your birthday is in March?
March, yeah. So I'm outside. It's one of those, I don't know, maybe it's because it wasn't actually that cold out, but, us being children, very, very little children, to us it was very cold. I remember I was freezing. Like, I remember, what I did, and some other kids did this, is we went to, this, so there's a slide, okay? Just like, of the equipment, they have it has, a little ladder and, a little, thing you can climb up on. It's not a ladder, but kind of like a ladder. It's like a spin, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a ladder.
Those spinny thing where it's just circles that you climb up?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
I know
yes.
what you're talking about.
And then it's got a big aluminum slide. It's almost a mirror.
The open ones?
It's completely open. It's the kinds that would shock you, but because it's open, it's not going to.
Yeah.
If it were a circular one, you would come out of there literally like a lightning bolt, and just lightning would be shooting off of you every so often. Hair would be up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on the end of it, it has little stairs. And so I was sitting over there, just all huddled up, trying to keep, whatever warmth I had in my soul, on me. And then it was time to go in. And so most of the other kids had already gone over there. And I started walking over there, running over there. And I, wait a second, I can't remember why. And I swear to God, so I sat on the slide, because I was about to slide down and go over there. And then I hear something moving behind me. It's like, oh, it's a kid. So I look back. No, I straight up see a freaking hand.
It's Jeffrey Epstein.
I see a hand without anything attached to it behind me. Now, was that a toy? Probably. But me being 5, oh man, I don't know. I swear to God, it also is moving. I saw it it was there, and I saw scrunch up and move closer to me, and I was gone immediately.
Man.
That's a spooky spook.
Wow.
Not too spooky. Yeah.
Wow.
I have actually spooky stories. That's just the first time I ever was actually just terrified. I had no idea what was happening.
I used to be so scared of movie trailers that were for horror movies when I was 6 years old. I was scared of everything when I was 6.
Yeah, I think it's it's a healthy thing.
And I watched so much Nick at Night though, because I watched George Lopez and all those shows.
I remember leaving the TV on at night and waking up to hearing that music.
Yeah.
Oh, it's time to go to sleep. I was I can hear it, but I can't hear it. Yeah. I remember waking up sometimes. I'm like, what in the world? Oh, it's time to go to sleep.
But anyways, they would play freaking horror movie commercials.
Yeah, it
on
was
that
late
channel. Now. Yeah, and I would wake up in the middle of the night to those.
And back,
Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts?
I believe that it's possible that ghosts exist. Scientifically, I can't say yes because obviously there's not scientific proof of it. But I've had experiences where I'm certain some weird thing happened, whether it was ghosts or something else. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But
ghosts would be cool if there were more evidence, which is why it's more fun to talk about aliens, because there's a lot more evidence for aliens.
There's a lot of evidence for aliens, although a lot of it's classified.
I know,
or probably destroyed.
But even the stuff that isn't classified is a lot more solid than ghosts. I hope ghosts exist.
You hope they exist. What if you become a ghost? What if you just get stuck in limbo basically, and you're just ugh?
Well, every ghost movie has slightly different rules about the way ghosts work.
True.
So traditionally, you become a ghost whenever you have unfinished business.
That's the traditional
or
one,
when you're sad.
But you can't pass on because of that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Although that comes from the religious context of it, and I'm not religious at all. So my thought is that if ghosts exist, it has nothing to do with finished or unfinished business. I think it has to do with how attached you are to something. And I think, for example, if ghosts or something that we can I don't think that conscious ghosts exist. I don't think that there's anyone walking around who's dead and their spirit's still alive somewhere conscious.
Oh, I forgot. There's a term for residual effects of ghosts.
Yeah, I think there's residual effects, sort of. Yeah. I think it's possible
Ooh,
that
yes.
if people say died in a house and they were really attached to a house, to have for a long time, or as a really bad, murder or something like that, I think it's completely possible that something can like take in, the energy or whatever of that horrible experience, and it can reflect that over time. I think that at a certain point in time it probably wears out, which is why like we don't hear many stories about ghosts from like the 1200s, because maybe at a certain point in time the energy is just no longer there. But I think it's possible that the energy can stay there for some time. I think that basically speaking, though, all like ghost detective shows are BS.
Yes.
I don't believe in any of those. I think those are all BS.
But have you heard of Boiler Rectory?
No, I haven't.
It's this place in London. It's somewhere in England. It might be London. I hope it's London. It's a rectory.
I don't know what that is.
It's like, oh shoot,
A rectory.
It's
like where they like make buttholes.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay. They make a lot of those in England.
Bunch of scary shit happened there, ghost wise, and like a lot of people died in that building, and a lot of people have seen ghosts.
Yeah.
Around that building, and
okay.
I will tend to believe something if there is enough accumulation of testimonies and enough bad evidence can conglomerate to be evidence to me.
You can have
It's
a
like
lot
group-
of bad evidence, and it can
group
be enough
credibility.
You can. A lot of bad evidence can bring up the necessity to study, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that there's a lot of bad evidence is the reason we talk about ghosts existing, because not everyone's experienced like a ghost sighting or anything like that, but enough people have that people do think, well, do ghosts exist? Can we study this? So that's what I think is good. Like, you can't say yes because all these experiences, ghosts definitely do exist, but you can be like, well, people have had all these weird experiences. Now, some of them are obviously lying. Like, there's no way that not all of them are lying.
Yeah.
Or they just experienced something that was just, they just didn't understand, but was actually normal, But even if you get rid of, what you could say, oh, well, let's assume, half of the people who've ever experienced a ghost were just idiots in some way, shape, or form. They didn't understand the situation. And then half of the remaining were ones who just are lying about it,
Yeah, what's cool, though, is when they describe a ghost that they've seen.
A tribe? Did you say a
no,
tribe?
when someone describes a ghost that they've seen, and they have no idea who it was, but upon describing them, it turns out to be someone who died there a long time ago.
Yes.
Like, that is...
Yes.
That's
Those
pretty
are the
crazy.
spooky ones.
Those are the,
Or like, they'd be like, I swear, it's like saying this. And they look it up and like, oh, someone's wife who died there was named this.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
There are some spooky things like that. Now, granted, though, again, as soon as any production quality has gone into the story, I immediately doubt it. I immediately assume this is just a story that it's made
This
to
for
be
money.
spooky.
Yeah. Or-
But whenever someone like just talks about it, I don't know how to describe it. If someone just tells me a story and they're like, yeah, I haven't like really posted, like, if I see it anywhere online, I'm gonna assume it's a lie. If I see it not online, but like on some kind of streaming thing or something, then I also assume it's not true. But whenever people tell me their own stories, then I usually assume that they're either mistaken, lying, or it's a truth. And I think that I think that if it is a truth, it's very small. I think most people are lying or just didn't realize. I think a majority of people thought they saw a ghost when they saw something else. And then I think a very small amount of people lie about seeing a ghost because they want to be like, oh yeah, I saw ghosts, yeah, blah, 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 and tell them this story. And then I think a very few amount of people just actually do believe they saw a ghost, and they've thought through it rationally, like, I can't explain this thing, but I don't know. I think ghosts are cool, and aliens are cool too. Aliens obviously exist.
And
but
by the way, everywhere that I get my information from is from an excellent podcast called Last Podcast on the Left. Go listen to it. If you've somehow stumbled upon this podcast and don't know about the Last Podcast on the Left, which is very unlikely.
I didn't know about it until you told me.
They talk about Boiler Rectory. They talk about Skinwalker Ranch, which is like my favorite. It is my favorite thing to talk about.
Skinwalker Ranch.
As far as weird phenomena go, Skinwalker Ranch is such a joy to learn about.
That is a spooky.
That is a spooky place. I want to go to Utah
I want to go there too, just to go there. Stay there for like a month. Just stay. Imagine staying there for a month.
Yeah.
In the middle of dead of winter.
Buy a bunch of cows to lay out as bait as well.
Yes. Or sheep. Sheep, I think, are cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Or, well, goats. Goats are really cheap, I think. At least in comparison to a cow.
Yeah.
Cows are expensive.
They like to mutilate the animals.
Yeah.
That's what the thing is.
What if we get our political enemies instead? We use them as bait.
Yeah.
That'll work? Okay, perfect. Now, Skinwalker Ranch, though, is spooky. Although, the thing with Skinwalker Ranch is, are they skinwalkers? Are they ghosts? Or are they aliens?
No, they're aliens. They have to be aliens.
They gotta be aliens.
Orbs and shit. And Rendlesham Park as well. It was a military base. It's a military base, an American military base put in the UK.
Okay.
And they actually came across like a craft, a UFO. I forgot exactly all the details. I should have done more research for this podcast. But
all right, no, you're good.
More spooky shit, man.
Spooky shit. Also, I'd say what I want to do, I think this would be phenomenal. I would drop the money on this absolutely to do it. We get some people, and we go to a haunted place with the ghost finding equipment, and we just go and try to get spooked and try to see if there's something there. There are some haunted places around here. A lot of them are kind of a drive away. A lot of places in Arkansas, but I could just load up the car with some equipment, go in there, film it all. Yeah. And just,
some places that are supposedly haunted.
Yeah. Although I want to go to the ones that like aren't just supposedly haunted, but like actually have some decent. Like if we could do a full road trip on it, go somewhere that like it's like this is one of the most haunted places in America, that would be amazing. But that
reminds me of the plot of my second favorite horror movie of all time. It's called 1408. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
Oh, brilliant movie.
Brilliant movie.
John Cusack. He's a writer, and he writes about haunted places that he goes and visits. It's like what he does, pretty much what we were talking about. And he goes to this hotel in New York, room 1408.
Okay, that's a tall building.
And he gets trapped in there, and the room is just fucking evil. It's an amazing movie. You have to.
That sounds. Is it kind of older?
2007.
I think I have seen that. I think I watched it when it came out, not like in theaters. Like I think I watched it like at my grandpa's house or something. Because that way you just described sound familiar.
That movie is so excellent.
It was like a thing where like it sounded like someone's like running around like on the ceiling almost. Like was there a scene that like where he feels like he's being chased, like runs through the door. Someone's like chasing him on the ceiling, but it's like not on the ceiling. It's like over the ceiling kind of.
He did go into the vents at one point. Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. That's terrified me.
And the room turns into an ocean.
Yeah, you're bringing me back some like it's like post-traumatic memories.
He lights the room on fire.
Yeah. Oh man, I haven't seen that in forever. I feel like I was like 8 or 7 or so when I watched that.
One of the best horror movies out there.
I would love to go to haunted places and document it though.
I would too. Yeah.
Because here's the thing too. Like I'm not gonna BS people, so if I go there and I'm like this was dumb, I will state vehemently like I don't think this place has any ghosts, anything involved in it, Yeah. Granted, that means though that a lot of those places wouldn't give me access because a lot of them only like let you go in there. Basically, if you're going to say, "Oh yeah, it's super haunted," and you're gonna like show how spooky it is, because they make money off of people going there to see if it's spooky.
Exactly.
And so obviously, I could only do it for a very short time before I get like blacklisted and they don't let me go places anymore because I'm sure a lot of those places have nothing supernatural going on at all. I would absolutely bet because a lot of those places, like I just said, they make all of their money or a lot of their money off of people coming in there and filming. And like trying to like be like, oh, it's so haunted, and I would absolutely, without a doubt, expect that people hire people. Like those people will hire people to like do things around the thing, around the place, to like do that, like without the other people knowing. I could absolutely see that happening because like that's where their money. Like, they have an incentive. Like I don't know how to describe it. Just like if there's an incentive other than finding out if ghosts are real, then I assume that whatever they find is not accurate at all. That's the way I see it. So I'd love to go to those places, but I'd have to go to them for I had to like go to all of them within like a very short time, so they can't contact each other and be like, hey, this guy's going to come through and just like bash us. Or what I could do is just do all of them in one go and then start publishing them. You know, like they like spend 2 years doing it and then start publishing all these videos. You know, and like this place is a scam. Don't go here. It's not haunted. You know what I mean? I don't know. I know, to my knowledge, it seems like a lot more places in America are haunted than other places, which makes no sense to me. Like, if I look up like hauntings in England, I find some, but like not per capita, but like per like how much land there is, it seems.
Yeah.
Or how many people have died there. It just seems like there's way more people who are ghosts in America than, you know, in England, even though people have lived there for thousands of years. And I don't really understand that.
It's because, let's say, America, we got a lot of smart people, we got a lot of stupid people, and it's
That's
just smart people making money off of stupid people.
That's exactly. Which is why I'd love to go to all these places and study it. Yeah. One thing I do want to study though too is it's like the EMF detector. Is that what it's called? The thing that's like detects ghost energy.
Oh,
EMF.
something like that.
So they say like that humans can't interfere with this thing. Like, humans don't do anything, but I want to test if you get people really scared if that thing will go off, because I've seen a lot of those ghost shows, and I forgot what one of them though was like where they just had a film crew and they had like random people go in there with the film crew. I can't remember what it was called, but I thought that was a cool one, although obviously they're probably still actors. And they're like, you know, this thing won't like, if like this thing will only go off if a ghost is nearby. But every time those things go off is usually after a little bit of stress has happened, and then the people start to get kind of stressed out or scared. And I want to see if there are some solid tests of EMF detectors on people who are stressed and scared, because I bet you humans can make those go off, or you can probably just press a button on a machine and make those things go off.
Well, how would we know how to make a ghost detector if we don't know what ghosts are?
Yes, I agree with you on that. I don't know. That a lot of the technology behind it seems BS.
Yeah.
I also don't believe in Ouija boards. Like, I don't think that's going to summon a ghost or anything.
Oh, that's so interesting though. The lore behind Ouija boards though,
lore is cool
because of the psychological effect.
Yes. I do think absolutely that people get scared, and I do, like, if you do it, you're going to be like, oh my god, someone's moving it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because, like you just said, there's actually, people have done studies on this, and if you blindfold everybody, then it'll still move, but it's complete gibberish.
Oh, yeah.
What happens is, most likely, it's not that anyone particularly is moving, but whenever you have all those people putting their hands to it, you're kind of likely to slightly push forward to things that you don't want to see happen or something like that. And like I said, if you blindfold them, then they butcher it. It doesn't do anything. Because I remember I saw one where they had a bunch of sensors on their arms and their hands, and they tested, and like some people were moving, but then like they swore they weren't trying to move or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I guess you could say maybe what is the ghosts actually are going into the human hands and pushing the human's arms to make it move. Who knows? But I don't believe in them. Like, if someone's like, oh, let's do this Ouija board, I would have no quarrel with being like, okay, let's do this. I don't care.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
I've talked to people and they're like, no, you can't do that in my house. Like, that's no, not gonna happen. I'm like, why?
I know, isn't that weird? I feel like 90% of the people that's ever come up with are genuinely scared of it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and I
why?
have no idea why.
Yeah.
We gotta do a Ouija board now.
I know.
Let's get this house haunted. Nice and ready for
Yeah.
October. You know what I mean? Hunter doesn't like this idea. I think this is a good idea.
You scared of Ouija boards?
I got a limb fear. I don't take no chances.
You just gotta have lots of guns. You're good. Rock salt, remember?
Yeah.
No, like, seriously though, like, I have no issue at all with Ouija boards or anything like that. I don't believe in like demons or angels or anything like that. I don't even like believe in ghosts. I just think that given the amount of experiences that have happened, I don't think that many people are liars. You know what I mean? But maybe it's just I have too much faith in humanity. You know, I don't really know. But aliens absolutely exist.
I know. That's why aliens
Absolutely
are so much
have
more
come
fun to
to
talk
planet
about.
Earth too.
Yes.
100%.
Many times.
100%. My theory.
I think they may have even integrated themselves into us hundreds of years ago.
Oh, absolutely. Or maybe not themselves, maybe their DNA.
Yes.
I think it's absolutely possible that they went to apes and were like, hey, let's put some of this DNA, and then they probably understand all that stuff, and then it made us. Because like, if you look at it, like, I mean, obviously we are very different than any other species on Earth. You know, like we are a great ape, but like even of that class, like we are our own classification. Really, it's like humans and then the other animals. Like we are very different than everything else. We have obviously things that are similar. Like obviously we are still great apes. You know, humans are great apes. Yeah, some people are like, no, we're not. We are technically, if I remember correctly, we are of the classification, whatever it is, of great ape. But like, if you look at all the great apes in us, we look more different from them than most birds look different from each other, or most like, and birds is an entire group. Like birds is like mammals. Like we look more different from apes, in my opinion, than some entire like groups of animals look different from each other.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Granted, that could just be because of the fact that we see other humans and we can see a difference in them more than we can see a difference in an animal. Perhaps to an alien species, we would just look like a normal ape. Maybe they'd be like, no, it just looks like an ape. Like I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It could just be the way that our brains work, we perceive it differently. But even with that though, if you look at like other things, like actual like scientific things, like like bone density, skin tone, hair, like amounts of hair, digestion tract, there are lots of differences, a lot more differences for such a small classification. And I could absolutely see aliens coming down here going, man, this planet, it's cool. They lost all their cool animals, those freaking dinosaurs, those are pretty cool. But we've got some cool animals here, and they'll get to intelligence somewhat. It'll take a while. We can just boost the process a little bit. I could absolutely see an alien species going somewhere, because they obviously don't have the same ethics as us. For some reason, like if we got to like Star Trek levels and we could go to other planets, I'm sure there'd be space PETA saying, "Oh no, you can't test on those alien species." But who cares? Those aliens probably don't have that, because why would they? Humans are pretty freaking dumb. I could imagine, and I bet you any species capable of intergalactic travel or whatever, or it's probably intergalactic, or at least planetary travel, I bet you they had to be smart enough to not have something like a PETA develop. So I bet you they don't have those quarrels. They don't have like the issue of like, oh, we don't want to put these genes in these animals because we don't want to like hurt the ecosystem. They're like, let's just fucking figure out what happens.
Yeah, what if
and
they
I could absolutely seem like, oh, let's put some of our DNA in there.
Yeah, maybe they got to where they are by being really efficient, logical creatures, not emotion-based creatures.
Yeah, we are definitely more emotion-based than they are, for sure. I would say also, literally speaking, because of the fact that I think mammals, like, I was talking to Matt about this the other day. We were talking about like socialness, okay? Socialness. So he wants to go into neuroscience now. And so we were talking a little bit, and I mentioned, I was like, it seems to me that like if I were to go into neuroscience, I don't want to study like when evolutionary differences in the mind started. And I said, to me, it seems that like the you and us mentality isn't in the entire animal kingdom, I think is what they call it. But it's specifically in some mammals. So, to my knowledge, he said, well, fish like school up, and I said yes, but to my knowledge, most fish don't care if you're from another fish group, so long as you're the same type of fish. But for humans, we don't have that. Even if you're another human, to us, we want to classify like, well, you might be a human, but you're like not an us human. You're a them human. And I know wolves have that, and some social creatures have that. So I think it's a very modern in terms of evolution, change in our brains that make us have in and out groups. In fact, if you look at like indigenous people groups, a lot of them, the word for like us is like family. Usually it's usually interchangeable with family, and them is usually just enemy. Like just the word for them would be enemy. Like to them, it's like you're either in the family
strange.
Or you're someone that needs to die.
Wow.
And that's the case for most humans. Like we've very much changed it now, but even then we haven't. Like now, it's like, oh well, we have like European, American, like that kind of group, like the West. And it's like, oh, but then there's also like the them, like the Middle Easterns, like that's the them. Those are the bad guys,
Yeah.
We still have it to some degree.
Yeah.
But like within the group itself, it's not so much, like especially for Americans, it's like American, you can be any skin color and be an American, so that doesn't matter. So it's a little bit different for like race, but there's still in and out groups. And I could absolutely see if another a species existed elsewhere that they didn't develop that psychopathy where they're like, oh yes, I am in the in group and they're in the out group, and then because of that they can develop the idea of, oh, I don't want to hurt another group because I don't know what they're going through or anything like that. I could absolutely see that not evolving in them, because it didn't even evolve in most earthling species, you know.
Yeah.
And if they came over here, tested on us a little bit, honestly, who knows if they even put their own DNA in us? It could just simply be that they're like, oh, if we block these chemicals and these ones, then they'll start to develop like this. Or, oh, if we plant these trees so they have to eat this type of food instead of that food, they'll develop a bigger brain really quickly. Like, I could absolutely see that, because the human brain develops so fast, and in comparison to like just general, you know, evolutionary differences, it just skyrocketed in speed and its growth. And then there's evidence throughout the entire world, across the world, both the old world and the new world, of like weird similarities where like it's like, I know I told you about this the other, I think it was when we had like the Cook family dinner, whenever it was here. And there's like that cool little thing where like across the world there are like these little statues of people was like a gift giver, and he's always like carrying like a suitcase, and he has like a hand out with like a tool in it or whatever. And it's like, that's across the world, places where they couldn't have been in contact with each other. And it's very odd, you know.
Yeah.
My thought though, with like people like, well, why are they coming like the 50s and stuff? Like, why is there all that stuff in the 50s?
And the 90s.
In the 90s, yes. Well, the 50s to me makes perfect sense. They come over here, you know, they tested on us, they made us humans. They came back every so often.
Holy shit, they're bombing each other.
And then they're like, whoa, what's with all this fucking radiation coming from that planet? What the fuck is that? What happened to our little radiation meter that was in Hiroshima?
Manufactured a nova.
Yeah, exactly. They were probably like, what the fuck? Oh, they learned how to split the atom. I mean, okay, they're only like halfway there, but what the hell? It's only been you know a few million years. What the hell? Come back and they're like, let's just fucking figure out what the fuck's going on. And they're like, nope, they're fucking idiots. Let's go. That's what my guess is.
So what do you think happened in the 90s to bring them back? Or do you think, so you see, my thought was that it just takes us 3 decades for them to get here, or for them to travel
that
between.
Could be it.
So
that could absolutely be it. They could have come here in the 50s, traveled back, or maybe it takes 15 years.
Yeah.
Wait, you say?
Or I guess that's 40.
Wait, so it's 50s
It
to
just
90s.
takes
So it's 40s.
several decades.
So maybe it takes 20 years to travel between the places, or it took 20 years to get there and 20 years to get back.
But really, in order, unless they live a really, really long time, then the only way for them to get to us is
well, they could absolutely
bending
live a long
space
time.
and, well, yeah, I guess.
Well, then, even then though, 20 years means that they live phenomenally close. So they probably can do something that's faster than the speed of light, which I think is absolutely doable. You know, obviously I'm not a scientist, but you know, they're always like, well, technically the speed of light is the maximum speed you can possibly travel. And I think that's technically true. Like, I don't think you can technically have an object moving faster than the speed of light, but there are lots of different things. Like, my brain can think of ways of bypassing that. If that
But
makes
even
any
at the
sense.
speed of light, we can see the speed of light years and years and years away.
What do you mean?
We can. The fact that we can't see aliens from where we're at.
Oh yeah, they could absolutely
and with
exist. We just can't see them.
With how far
yet.
we can see.
Oh yeah.
It would take much, much faster if they're just going in a straight line. It would take much, much faster for them to get from out of our line of sight to here. So that's why I think space manipulation is like the only way that they could possibly get here.
Well, so there are some freaking cool things that were studied during the Cold War. I can't remember the guy's name. There's a guy who worked in Area 51, although if you ask now, he never existed, never down there, but he was at Area 51. And this guy was like, he recorded some of their test flights and stuff like that, to my knowledge. And I remember like what it was, it's like the government like basically had a bunch of scientists in rooms and gave them like a very small thing and said, okay, figure out how this works. And none of them could figure it out because they were just working on a very small thing that obviously needed the whole spaceship. And they were saying something. And I remember Soviets at the time were like getting reports of like weird flying objects that are like hovering and like going invisible and stuff like that.
Yes.
And like, and at first I was told I saw that what it was is they told them, if you see these things, chase them, like follow them, figure out what they're doing. And people have described it as like what it would do is like it would move in ways that like would kill you. Like it would be still and then just like just shoot off to the side
Yeah.
at just like Mach, whatever,
Yeah.
and stop. And if you were to do that, really, you would just die. Like you would literally, like your organs would shove to one side of your body, your bones would break, you would be dead. So my thought is that whatever they're in is enclosed in something that doesn't feel the effects of gravity as much as like other things would, for one. And people were were chasing them, and what happened was with the Soviets is they were chasing them, and then at some point in time, those things started just shooting down their ships. And so then the Soviets were like, if you see them, just mind your own business, let it be. Don't fuck with it.
Yeah.
And they stopped fucking with them. And like there's a lot of crazy stuff like that, and it sounds like not real, you know what I mean? Like growing up growing up in a world where like aliens don't actually exist.
Oh, it sounds 100% real to me.
Oh, okay. Like to me, like it sounds like it's fake news. Like it sounds like something
No,
like
I believe every word of that.
Okay, it's just really cool to me. And like I saw a thing where like they had like I can't remember what it's called, but like in the planes they have like a targeting system, and apparently it can like they have a targeting system and it can read temperature. And there's one thing where like this guy was like chasing one of these ships, and it was flying over the ocean, and he was above it, and the ship was colder than the surface of the ocean, and flying at, if I remember correctly, they said, basically faster than animals can fly, but they couldn't actually tell you the exact speed because of the way that the thing works. But being colder than the surface of the ocean makes absolutely no sense, regardless of how fast it's going, because that's just not how anything works. The surface of the ocean is going to be a lot cooler than most other things. And this thing was flying around, and I remember I saw another thing where like these people had a radar, and the radar can test up to like 60,000 feet or something crazy high like that. And they see this object fall from 60,000 feet down to like the surface of the ocean just in like a second, stop, and then move off.
Yeah.
And like it's like if you were like it was falling faster than terminal velocity. Like no object can fall that fast. Like it's like not only like it had to be propelling itself. Like it can't just be falling. It can't be gravity, falling. It can't be like a meteor or something like that. And I don't know. It's super spooky and cool. Well, not really spooky. It's just cool.
I'd say it's spooky. I think it's appropriate.
I mean, to me, it's not spooky because I mean, hey, if they exist, they exist. Cool. Maybe we can be like, hey guys, we're obviously way more dumb than you guys.
Yes, please.
How can we fix ourselves?
I know. Okay.
What do you guys do? Can we study you guys to figure out how to make us better?
I still think there's no way that they don't know how to manufacture a wormhole.
Well, I mean,
someone.
Who's to say wormhole?
I mean, I
think it's possible to do. Like, I think wormhole is a very human concept. They could be like, that takes way too much energy. We just do this way faster, way better,
just to
more
like
efficient.
slip through space and time. Is all I'm saying.
I have a theory. Okay, so this is not alien stuff, but space stuff. So I believe in the Big Bang because there's a lot of evidence for that, and
yes.
What I would say is like the universe as it exists. I'm sure I'm not the only person to think this. Can I prove this? Absolutely no. I don't even know how I could prove this. But my theory is that you can view the universe as a sphere. Okay, that's not my own. Everyone, I think, kind of views the universe as a sphere.
Yeah.
And at any point in time, that sphere is growing, and you can't. You are inherently moving with the expansion of that sphere.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that being said, though, I say sphere because technically it's not. I'd say that technically what it is you have a fourth dimensional sphere, whatever that's called, and then the edge of that is a three-dimensional sphere. So we live on a three-dimensional edge of a fourth dimensional sphere. But if you think about it just in linear time-wise, then it becomes just a three-dimensional sphere. And what happens is if you move from point 1 to point 2, regardless of how fast you move, unless you teleport, you technically didn't move just in that direction. You moved out because time is moving outwards,
Mm-hmm.
And so my thought is to move, faster than the speed of light. I don't think you can technically move to a location faster than the speed of light. I don't think you could travel to the Pegasus galaxy or whatever in a minute. I don't think that's ever possible. But I think what you can do is you can, theoretically, just not move on the out direction and just move the locational direction. So it takes you as long as it would take you to get there. But because you're not moving on the outside, you technically teleported there,
Mm-hmm.
but you experience all the time it takes to get there. If that makes sense. And I think
Yes.
aliens could have that, because it's absolutely possible that these aliens live forever. Like,
Yeah.
having a mortal lifespan is a unique Earthling thing, and then not even all Earthlings have that. You know, like jellyfish, to my knowledge, they don't technically die; they can live forever, or some of them can. Like, I think it's absolutely possible these aliens live forever, so they couldn't care less if it takes them a million years to get to wherever, because they could be as old as the universe itself. They couldn't care less. Like, a million years, okay, I'll just drink my coffee; it'll be by in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
But to us, it's like, it takes them 20 years to get there and back. Maybe it does. Maybe they can't perfectly stop that. Maybe they do. Maybe they can only reduce slightly how fast they're moving along the speed of time wise. Maybe they can only do like 20% or 1%. They can only reduce it by a certain amount. But my assumption is they can make it back and forth in a way that breaks time, sort of, so they can get there and get back. For us, what seems like 40 years, but for them might be millions of years. I think that's completely possible. Doesn't make any sense, no. And I was using my hands to explain a lot of that, so I am apologizing for how just kind of nonsensical I just sounded.
Well, it's funny how we refer to them as they, or act like there's one species of aliens
it'd
out
be
there. But yeah, it's just like
thousands, millions,
just
billions.
infinite. They're just
Absolutely. My thought too is, like, the reason I especially would say that there's probably a lot of them is because if, say, there's this alien species, okay, and they come across our planet, there's more life here. My thought is, even if they're purely rational beings, they probably wouldn't just test us, one species, and then leave. My thought is like, oh wow, an entire new planet of life. They'd test everything. They'd be like, let's just fucking take a lot of samples and take them all, and they'd probably have no interest in humans, because if they can do that type of flight stuff, then they're clearly they are smarter than us, greater in degree than we are smarter than animals. In my opinion, like they had to be. Maybe not them as a whole, but maybe what happens is they're actually not super smart, but maybe they created some kind of supercomputer that can process information, super quickly. Who knows? But my thought is they have to be at least more advanced than us in some way, that like they view us as like less than children.
Well, yeah, imagine a species that's been around for so Earth is 4.6 billion years old,
something like that,
and humans are.
2 million.
How old are 2 million? Imagine a species that were humans ever. Their version of a human has been around since a billion years instead of 2 million. Think about how far along we would be. Like, what if they've just been around slightly longer than us?
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And I mean, also, like, so here's the thing. Also, the Big Bang kind of thing. Guess if you were to point in a direction, where would you point to say like, that's where the Big Bang began? Exactly. The Big Bang is that outside sphere. Like, you exist in a three-dimensional
to explain that,
sphere.
I made a very big gesture.
He did circles with his hands.
Big circles.
Yeah. So my thought is, like, you're still experiencing the Big Bang, whatever. You're experiencing the expansion still. And that expansion is time. And that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, theoretically speaking, it wouldn't require, if anything, it would require less energy to just stop time for you. That's my thought. Like, my thought would be like, we are currently, some energy is either forcing us forward, or we are using some kind of energy to force us forward to go along with this expansion. Because to me, it makes no sense as to why things do inherently have to move along with the expansion of the universe. And my thought is, if you can. Well, here's kind of going off like the whole like, it can like go move without gravity, the influence of gravity. My thought is, if that machine can move without the influence of gravity, who's to say it can't also it can, like, because gravity is a a natural force or whatever it's called, like electromagnetism and stuff like that. I don't see a reason as to why it isn't possible to say that it can also move independent of whatever that force is that's forcing everything forward in the expansion. Because my thought is, if you just choose not to, if you can choose to let the expansion pass you, then you've traveled backwards in time, because time has moved ahead of you. That's just, I don't know how to describe it.
Do you know if there's been any recent advancements in dark matter? Because I haven't.
I don't think so.
I haven't.
I don't think within our lifetime we're going to learn much, really.
I know. How can we? We're at almost a a wall of what we can
Yeah.
physically
Yeah,
observe
absolutely.
until
Well,
we
literally
can.
we are.
Yeah, until we can get out in the field.
Technically, the observable universe is, growing at 1 light year per year, but that's not really much.
No, but until we can get out in the field, we can't learn that much more,
Agreed. You're right. You're completely correct.
and that's upsetting.
I think here's what I think would be cool. So in the D&D world, this is a thing. So there's they're called the old men or the old people. No one really knows who they are, but remnants of an ancient civilization exist. Remnants as in like 3 buildings basically throughout the world, and some like bunkers. But basically everything from that is like all just completely destroyed, rusted, gone. The only thing that really exists is just like the structures, like the things that just can't really wither away particularly well. And not much is known about them other than a group of people after they died out, and the new people came in. There are people who came, like basically aliens, sort of, who just kind of said, oh yes, people used to live here and they were very technologically advanced. In fact, we took some of their technology and that's how we are as we are. And so that's all really is known, is that they were very technologically advanced. And what actually happened, no one knows this in the D&D world other than me, because I'm God, And there's 2 moons. There's a moon that rotates around the planet, and then that has a moon itself. So technically it's only 1 moon, because the moon has a satellite, but I say 2 moons. The way they view it is just 2 moons as well. But the moon that rotates around the bigger moon is actually just a massive computer.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not super massive. Like technically, you could make planet-sized computers or whatnot. It's just a small moon-sized computer. It's about the size of our moon, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
And that computer was made to compute things outside of human lifespan, like the old people's lifespan. They made this machine so that it could constantly be processing all the information that was ever being produced in, like, the visible universe, like anything that you could see. They had all these scanners. It would send out probes that would send signals back. It was all made by basically like nanorobots. Like what it was is they didn't actually build this machine. They shot a rocket basically into the sky that had nanobots in it, and its whole thing was it would eat meteors and anything that came near the planet. It would eat the materials up and start to build this machine off the materials that are being eaten up. So that, it's mostly carbon, rocks. Carbon's being made because it's it's a computer. And what it did is they would send out other probes that would do the same thing and just send out like a bunch, it'd send out like 3 or 4 nanobots basically, and they just shoot out until they hit something, and then they just start eating it. And what they did is they'd eat it. And then their program was it would eat material until it could make a new version of itself. It would process, make a new version of itself, and then just keep on doing that. And what it did is it at a certain point in time, once there wasn't any more material, or once it's stretched out enough times, then they would have the second programming where they would actually go together and link up and then make the computer in some way, shape, or form. And so it sent out probes to as far as it could. And obviously it could never end because they could not break the speed of light. Like they didn't know how to do that at all. So all it was is this machine was just taking all the information in. And what happened was once the Illyrians came, which are from a different universe completely. I guess technically universe means one, so technically they came from a different universe. Like if there are multiple universes, then they're still just part of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like multiverse doesn't exist. It's just the universe. But how many versions of it? I don't know.
That's why I think realm is a more accurate.
Yeah, I actually use the word realm
Yeah.
usually. I usually say the realm of Elir or the realm of Eralir or Era. So like where we are from sort of is Era, and Elir is like another realm, another universe or whatever. And when those people came over, there were only a few of them that came over. They recognized what the thing was. Now they weren't technologically advanced, but they were magically advanced. And so they were able to take the information. They could tell it was processing information in some way. So they used it to they used magic to draw the energy out of it, basically the information out of it. And well, actually, there's only one guy who did this, and he took that information, and that helped him understand how magic worked better, because magic is just a form of manipulating the energies of the world themselves. And because it had been studying the world, the universe, for billions of years, it had a lot of information that no one could ever discern within their lifetime, or even any civilization could ever discern within their lifetime.
Wow.
Because it's processing information. So, like, for example, it had determined that these are ways that you could possibly time travel. You know, it determined these are possible ways that you could do this. And so the guy took that information, the data, and he just tested these things out and found out how to do more magic. And so he became basically a god king.
Cool.
Because of the fact that he just took the information from it. And I think it's completely possible that aliens could have made something like that, and then that's just how they know everything, is they just took a machine that's been processing information, you know, wherever they are for a long time, and it's discerned that, you know, if you did this, it could possibly do this. You know what I mean?
I love that.
You love that?
That's a really great place to end it, but I'm going to end it on one final question.
All right.
What's your favorite serial killer?
Serial killer.
Or who is your favorite serial killer? Favorite is a weird
Yeah,
term.
I don't really
Who?
know. I only have like favorite serial killers. I think they all have interesting stories. I'd say, what's his name? I know there's a guy who, I can't remember his name. The first serial killer in America is pretty interesting to me. I can't remember his name. I'm thinking Holmes. I'm thinking Holmes for some reason. It's not Sherlock Holmes, obviously. But I'm thinking, like, there's a guy, he was in America, I can't remember his name, and he was caught, and he was a serial killer. And I can't remember all the story, but I remember I heard a story once. I was like, that's pretty interesting. Because I always think, like, oh, Jeffrey Dahmer. But, like, that's what, like, half of everyone's. It's like, everyone likes Jeffrey Dahmer. Or what's the other guy's name? I can't remember the other guy's name.
There's the Zodiac killer. There's the Unabomber.
Oh, the Unabomber's pretty
Unabomber's a
cool.
big one.
Unabomber's got a really interesting story. Don't do LSD, kids.
There is, shoot. What? Yeah, Ted Bundy is the big one.
Yeah.
He was a bad bitch, man. He's a cool dude.
Oh, yeah.
Jack the Ripper is my favorite, though.
Yeah. Okay. Why? I thought it was always like, why. Like, I don't understand why people have favorite, things like that. It's like, why would Jack the Ripper be your favorite?
Because he's badass, dude.
Just
No one
running around
knows.
killing people.
No one knows anything.
Yeah, he's the best
about
serial
them.
killer. 'Cause
He's
no
the
one
best.
knows. Although maybe
Get
he's
away
not the
with it.
best. Although maybe he's not the best because like people didn't know he was killing. Maybe the best is to do it without anyone knowing, at all.
Well, yeah.
Like people knew. Oh, someone is killing these people. Maybe the best is to not.
Someone like Dexter Morgan.
Yeah. Well, but Dexter Morgan does get caught.
Well,
Sort of.
they find his bodies, but they get
Yes.
blamed on someone else.
Yes. It was a very sly move, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there could absolutely be a serial killer right now who like works at a crematorium or whatever it's called, and is like burying the bodies in a way that like you will never be able to pinpoint.
The most
and say it's
recent
him.
one I know about is Israel Keys. He's,
I don't know about
God,
him.
piece of shit. Just a horrible. He was worse than BTK. Do you know who BTK
No, I
was? BTK stands for bind, torture, kill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like some kind of BDSM thing.
John Wayne Gacy as well, the clown man. People like him.
Oh yeah, he's cool.
Big fat clown.
Big
He's
fat
not
clown.
cool. I hate.
You know what?
What?
What the hell happened to the killer clowns? That was like a big thing
The
in like
killer clowns?
2016 or so.
Oh,
Like, what happened to that? Like, it was just like
Man.
everyone's like, "Oh man, there's killer clowns out," and then like it just
Dude,
stopped.
that's the bummer about our oversaturation of shit that we have going on all the time. Is it's like things just kind of fizzle away. You don't really get
Yeah.
satisfying conclusions to
Dude,
anything.
I want that to return. Like, obviously,
I
I
want
want people to
something-
die, but I want to walk around outside at night sometime and then some clown chase me. Like, I want that.
I want something like OJ, where for 8 months the whole country is
everyone's
just like,
just like, whoa.
tuned into this
But
one
here's the thing, though: no one's attention span anymore can last that long.
No. That's true.
Maybe you can do like 8 days roughly.
Yeah.
But like Corona lasted for like 2 weeks, and then they're just like hammering it in and just hoping for the best that you'd keep paying attention.
Yeah.
I don't think we could do 8 months ever again. We had to wait till the next Netflix special comes out, and we're gonna hey, this is what we're gonna talk about now.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I wish there were more dangerous things in the real world. I think that the real world is not dangerous enough. or scary enough. Like I said, like I want to be walking around late at night or really early in the morning, and some clown start chasing me. I'm gonna run for my life, and I'm gonna be like, man, that was a good exercise. You know what I mean?
I want there to be something out there that wants to kill me because it's evil and it's gonna like it. I don't, because now it's dangerous because if you die, it's gonna be because someone was looking at their cell phone or something.
Yes.
And then they're gonna feel really bad for it, and it's all for nothing.
Yes.
I'd rather someone get satisfaction off of killing me.
I agree. If I am killed, I want the person to want to have killed me. I don't want to just die because someone's an idiot and was driving and texting. Yeah, I agree. I want to die because someone's like, oh yes, that guy, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah.
You know? I know exactly what you mean. I want to live in a world that's a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah.
It makes doing things more like successful. That makes sense. Like if you live in a world where everything's laid out for you roughly, and it's not too much struggle, then I mean, what is there to do besides just do enough?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm joining the military. Maybe I'm like, yes, I need more danger. I don't know.
More danger.
But
see, ladies and gentlemen, make the world a more dangerous place.
Yes. Although before we go, I have one quote.
Yes.
One of my favorite quotes from any book ever.
Yeah.
I only know the first half of it, by memory, sadly. So I'm gonna have to pull it up. I think it's actually here though.
Send us out on it.
Yes.
This would be,
So
this is
it
your time to
goes.
shine.
Let's see here. Oh no, it's not popped up anymore. I'll look the quote up, but it's from H.P. Lovecraft. Do you know who H.P. Lovecraft is?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think this is from Call of Cthulhu specifically, the book Call of
Good.
Cthulhu.
Excellent.
It's the beginning of it, and I love H.P. Lovecraft. Growing up, I read lots of books. Not really, and I read some books, but most of them are pretty garbage, if I can say so.
See, I don't read, so I would love some H.P. Lovecraft movies.
Yeah, a lot of the movies are not good.
I want
the thing
a
is, though,
Cthulhu movie.
That would be cool. The thing though is like the way he describes all that stuff is not really gonna work out well if you wanted to try to actually make it a movie, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the quote.
Yes.
The most merciful thing the most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of a black sea of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have hitherto harmed us little, but someday the piecing together of disassociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality and of our frightful position therein that we shall either go mad from the revelation or flee from the light into the peace and safety of a new dark age. I love that quote. That quote's the reason I want to read H.P. Lovecraft. Everything he writes is like that. But with that being said, thank you for listening to Scott's Thoughts, or more particularly, Scott's Spooky Thoughts. And
These thoughts were so spooky. Spooky thoughts are the best thoughts.
all my thoughts are spooky.
They're the most interesting thoughts.
Yeah.
Because what are we afraid of? Stuff that we don't know about.
Yeah.
It's fun to think about stuff that we
Yeah.
don't know about.
We don't know about anything.
That's what this channel's about.
Yeah. I don't know anything. I'm scared of everything.
All right.
No, I agree. And like that said, I think there are things outside of our knowledge that will make us terrified. I think it's absolutely possible that the more we learn, the more terrified we become. Like humans have been around for a long time, 2 million years or whatever. I don't know exactly how long it is. It's been a long time though. Maybe 2 million's a bit much. Modern humans haven't been around for that long, but like human humans have. And think about like how we think, like how a lot of people are quite, intuitive. They want to learn about the world. The fact that it took so long before any civilization developed makes me wonder if civilizations have developed in the past, and maybe what happened is they learned too much, and so they started the next dark age. And us learning about history, we say, oh, the agricultural revolution started around 10,000 years ago, 8,000 BC. But maybe that was just the second agricultural, or third, or fourth, or fifth. And what actually happens is every time we learn too much, everything collapses and we, go into a new dark age.